So the privilege is mine to welcome those who have logged in online, and it's good to see a huge number of members online. We are now currently 74 members online and probably around 40 members face-to-face here, and more are coming in. So regardless from where you are joining us from, allow me to welcome you to this very important occasion to celebrate our 5th year of operation. Our 5th year operation, and the first year celebrating being regulated by SAHPRA. As you said, as you heard from the speakers, SAHPRA is a regulator that looks into SACCOs with asset more than 100 million, and also those SACCOs that are registered in the diaspora. We are the only regulated SACCO within Europe, and in fact, even if we were not within the diaspora, based on our asset figure, we will be still under SAHPRA if we were in Kenya. So, as I mentioned, that this is our 5th year. We have grown in terms of numbers. We started with a humble number, 35 members in 2017. We are currently 332. So that's a very significant growth from the previous year, and I want to thank you members for referring your friends, referring your colleagues, referring your brothers and sisters. In terms of savings, the total members' deposit has grown in line with our 2030 vision. This is not a SACCO that was set up with a short-term vision. It's a SACCO that was set up with a long-term vision. So in 2018, we sat and agreed to have what is known as the 2030 vision. And so our membership deposit has grown in line with our 10-year plan that we set in 2018. Currently, our total deposit is 52 million Kenyan shillings from 27 million last year. I think I need to repeat that. From last year when we met here, I know we've had challenges in terms of logging into technology, but we need to smile where there is success. Last year, our total deposit was 27 million, and as of December 2022, our deposit was 52 million. I'm not going to mention what's the deposit right now. That is excellent growth. And in terms of, yes, even though we have grown in terms of deposit, I want to encourage all members to make sure that every single month they do not miss. Our savings, what we call the saving rate, is below 80%. Our target is to have 80%, in fact, 100%, because our 10,000 monthly savings is mandatory. And so, yes, we have celebrated that astronomous growth, more than 100%, but there are those who have not been saving every month, and we want to encourage. You will be receiving emails, you will be receiving calls to encourage you to save every single month, because it's from your savings that you can borrow. And so, to this end, on terms of savings, we will introduce some penalties that we'll talk about later on to encourage members to save regularly. In terms of share capital, again, the same as our deposit has grown exponentially, our share capital has also grown likewise. As at 31st December, our share capital was 32 million Kenyan shillings, up from 29 million. And no clapping. Up from 29 million to 32 million. That is a very good growth within a short period of time, which represents 68% from the previous year. Now, I'm coming to a very important component that I want to encourage every single member here. Membership loans that we give to our members. This SACCO, now let's go into our motto again this year. Save, invest, and repeat. How do you invest? By borrowing from the SACCO. Okay? Our membership loans, the loans that were given into the members. Last year, 2021, we had given only 7 million. But 2022, our loan book was 48 million. That is a growth of 550%. That's huge, huge, huge growth. Now again, even though our growth has gone up to 500%, 48 million, we are still slightly below the target. That represented 43% of our total assets. Now I'm coming to our total assets. So our loan book was just only 43%. Our target is to increase that to 80% of our total assets to be in terms of the loans. And that's the target for this year. Okay? So for those who are planning to invest, for those who are planning to join, you don't just join, you join with the aim that you are going to invest somewhere. You are going to do some business. You are going to buy land. You are going to buy a house. That is the purpose of this circle. You don't just save. Yes, you save. You will gain interest, but also you need to invest. You need to take a loan and invest somewhere. In terms of SASRA, as we mentioned, this is the first year, rather this is the second year we are being regulated by SASRA. In fact, I'm so proud that we are under SASRA, and I tell you why. Because, some of us, when I was growing up, I'm still growing though, I was thinking that the government officers, ambassador, they will just come and do a checklist. I've come to realize it's not a checklist. To present the annual report that you have as members, it has taken us more than a month exchanging email to SASRA, having series of meetings, questioning our figures, auditing our figures, auditing those loans that we've said, auditing those savings, and auditing the profit that we have made. And so even though, yes, it's sort of auditors, they are auditors, they become a burden, but they are there to ensure that your money is safe. Your money, your symbols, your Kenyan shilling that you are sending money into the Stock UK SASRA is safe. That is why we are so proud that we are under SASRA. Regardless of the cost, I stand here as a chair and say no regret of having been regulated by SASRA. Although there is a cost associated with that. And that is why SASRA the government came up with a levy. The levy is going to be based on the member's deposit. It's not a huge percentage, 0.065, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to lose your deposit. It's a percentage based on the deposit, but it will come from the profit the circle will make. So in other words, initially when I looked onto the regulation and I said, okay, 0.065 on my deposit, meaning that if I have £1 or 1 Kenyan shilling reduce, that is the initial thinking that I had. But when you look onto the regulation, it doesn't say that. It says yes, but the amount we will pay will come from the profit the circle will make. In other words, if the circle does not make profit, we will not pay a levy because it's from the profit that we'll be making those payments. Also, it's going to be an expense in our income statement. In other words, yes, you will pay a levy, and that will reduce the amount of tax that we'll pay at the end of the year. This levy was meant to come effect from 2023, but the regulators told us that there are quite a number of things that they are working on, and they will communicate to us when it's going to take place. So we will communicate to members when we start paying the levy as we receive the information from SASRA. I am not going to talk about some additional benefit of being regulated by SASRA. I think as Dr. John Simba mentioned, it enhanced financial stability of the circle. Absolutely. And let me tell you something, for those who are new members and those who are aspiring to become members of the circle, you have an advantage of becoming a member because you can ask tomorrow for a loan, and if you meet the requirement, you will get the loan. It's opposite with the board of directors. The board of directors, there is a restriction on how much loans can be lent to them. And the only reason as to why they added this provision is because some circles, they were lending to the board of directors. So you find majority of the loans were within the board of directors. And so there is a lot of restrictions on how much loans can be given to the directors of the SACCO. This sort of financial stability is enhanced by, regulated by SASRA. So I want to encourage members, I want to encourage those who are aspiring to become members, you are at the right space, at the right time. Now, one of the things with SASRA, it's to encourage members' deposit and savings. But also there is restrictions on what sort of activities that the SACCO can do. In other words, SASRA want to emphasize that we concentrate on our core activities. And core activities, let's go to our logo today. Save, invest, and do what? Repeat. Save, invest, and repeat. So that forms our core activities. Our core activities include mobilizing savings. The next one is lending to our members. And so SASRA want to emphasize that majority of our operations are coming from those core activities. And so there is restrictions on how much we can deal with the land and how much we can deal with the properties. The maximum is 10%. 10% of our total assets will be land and properties. Because of this, we formed the PLC last year. And so all the land that we had went into the market. As a result of that, we disposed of some land that we had substantially, and we made gains. And those gains will be distributed to our members in form of dividends. As the treasurer will announce, it's a very huge dividend you'll get. It's a very huge interest you'll get. And that is to say thank you to our members. Thank you for allowing to stay within Stock Diaspora SACCO and trusting the board of directors. And so before I move from disposal of properties, we have additional pieces of land that today they have to go. Those who are interested to buy, our honorary secretary later on will show you some of the pieces of land that is remaining. Remember, these pieces of land that we are selling, they are below the market price. They are way below the market price. However, we are not selling at the loss. Remember, the tagline of Stock UK SACCO is flourishing what? Together. And so every single piece of land that we are selling, be assured that it's below the market price, and we have done all the due diligence necessary to ensure that the land you're buying is genuine. Now, interest and dividend distribution. I want to summarize so that in terms of interest and distribution, I'll allow the treasurer to mention about it, but just to give you a snippet of it, last year we gave 7.3% interest on deposit. This year, we intended, one thing with Stock Diaspora SACCO, we are open SACCO. Very open. We intended to give 11% or 12%? 12% interest on deposit. From 7.3 to 12%. Out of the series of meetings we had with SASRA, we were then advised to reduce so that we can allow also to give interest next year. Remember what Dr. John Simba mentioned, that they advise you on how much interest you give, how much also dividend you give. And so we reduced it from 12% to 7.5% interest on deposit. That's a good growth. We did not go down, but we maintained slightly above what we had last year. And also in terms of the dividends, we maintained the same rate at 8% on your shares that you have. So towards the end of today, you will be given a questionnaire that you will complete, how you want your interest and deposit to be credited, either to your account or to your bank account. Members' engagement. Just before I go to members' engagement. Now, last year, if you do remember, we mentioned the board of directors. I looked as a chair, I looked onto the opportunity cost of running the board. Every single time we meet on monthly basis is 2 hours, and mostly Saturday or Sunday. The cost of running one board meeting is 240,000 Kenyan shillings. Over 10 months, because the maximum board meeting we are allowed is 10, that comes to 2.4 million. And that's the sacrifice these board of directors are giving to their members. 2.4 million. That's quite a lot of money. But that doesn't not include the time they work outside the board. Now remember, ordinarily the board of directors are there to sit and approve the expenses, approve what has been discussed from the committees, from the employees. But that's not the same case with Stock Diaspora Circle. The board of directors actually work. They actually spend a lot of hours, the way they spend the number of hours during their daytime work, they also spend even more hours for Stock Diaspora Circle. And so last year we said, let us not pay them, but acknowledge their effort, appreciate their effort. And so this year, we are recommending that we allow or we give an honorarium payment for the treasurer, the secretary, and the chairman of 8,000 Kenyan shillings every sitting, and every board member 6,000 for every sitting, maximum 10 sitting. These allowances are not automatic. The same way we had last year a budget of 279 honorarium payment, the final payment was 240. So the honorarium payment for the board of directors is not automatic. It's based on the performance from the committees that they are leading. If they meet those requirements, then that's when the director gets that honorarium payment. And so I will propose, or the treasurer will propose later on, that increase in terms of honorarium payment. The board of directors does not run on its own, but we also have the advisory board of directors. The advisory board, these are not only just members, they are not members of the circle, but they are experts in their field. And they meet 3 times in a year. These are officers, these are directors of various companies that we can call and ask, how do you do this? How do you do this? How do you address this? What do you advise? And they meet every single time. And so we also propose that we give an honorarium payment for 2023, 108,000 for the 6 advisory board members. Stock Diaspora Circle, being a boutique circle, is also a unique circle. In other words, we don't wait until annual general meeting to let the members what we are doing, to listen to our members. Rather, we have what is known as members engagement meetings, where we normally meet regional, quarterly. We meet Canada, US, Brazil. We'll be met the 3rd week of every Sunday. And for UK, Australia, Kenya, and Senegal, the 4th week Sunday in February, May, June, July, October. Please read my statement and note these dates, because those are the dates that you members, you can engage us rather than waiting for the AGM to hear us, what we are doing, and of course to recommend what the board can do. Apart from regional meetings, for every board meeting, we encourage an ordinary member to join during the board meeting. The member will listen, the member will contribute to the discussion, but the only thing that they cannot do, unfortunately, you cannot vote. But you will contribute, you will ask a question, but you cannot vote. So every board meeting, there will be an ordinary member attending, because then you are aware what's happening in the board meeting. You are aware what's happening within your circle. It's your money, you need to protect it, you need to be aware who is managing that money. So to this end, I thank you so much. But before I allow the treasurer, I need to mention one figure. The chairman cannot finish before mentioning what is known as the total assets. Ambassador Joachim, last year you were here, if you do recall. Our total asset as of last year, December, was 53 million. Last year, 2021, or rather. As of December 2022, our total asset is 111,530,956. 111 million from 53 million. All I can say, thank you very much, members, and God bless you.